Okay, let's go ahead and call this meeting of the City Council to order. Ms. Cuppy, please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ashby is expected momentarily. Councilmember Laloe is expected momentarily. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Valenzuela.
Here.
Vice Mayor Chenier.
I am here.
Councilmember Guerra.
Here.
Councilmember Jennings.
I am here, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Vang.
Here.
And Mayor Steinberg is expected momentarily.
Great. Madam Clerk, do you want to lead us in the pledge?
It'd be my pleasure. I pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do we have I don't have my agenda out. Do we have a presentation?
Yes, we do have a special presentation.
And
I think that's me,
Councilmember
Vice
Valenzuela.
Mayor.
okay, please go ahead.
Great, thank you so much. So I'm honored tonight to present a resolution as we begin our last meeting in August, which is recognized by the state of California as American Muslim Appreciation and Awareness Month. Sacramento is home to one of the oldest Muslim communities in the United States, a majority being South Asians who came to California in the early 1900s as immigrants seeking education or as refugees fleeing colonial oppression. Sacramento is also home to the Muslim Mosque Association, which is the oldest Muslim mosque west of the Mississippi River. The Muslim community has a strong history of giving back to the community, which was especially visible during this COVID-19 pandemic. Al-Misbah, in collaboration with local mosques, provided over $400,000 for those in need and distributed over 30,000 pounds of food. The Council on American Islamic Relations, also known as CARE, created community webinars to ensure the community was connected to resources and health information. And the Shifa Clinic, directed by Dr. Hamad Khan, partnered with local mosques to deliver over 7,600 COVID-19 vaccination doses to residents throughout Sacramento. In addition to this being the end of the American Muslim Appreciation and Awareness Month, this is also a timely recognition given the situation we're currently witnessing in Afghanistan, as many Afghan people are leaving their country to seek refuge. We're anticipating that thousands of these refugees will end up in the Sacramento region in need of significant community support. So in addition to this resolution tonight in honor of Dr. Hamad Khan of the Shifa Clinic and the Sacramento Muslim community, I'd also like to use this opportunity to state my intent that we continue to work together to ensure the long-term success and happiness of our new neighbors from Afghanistan. And with that, I'd like to give a couple minutes to Dr. Khan and Bassem Okra from CARE to share a couple of words with us. I believe that they're participating. Oh, there's Dr. Khan. Hello.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much, Councilmember Venezuela. It's an honor to meet with you guys and we have an opportunity to address you tonight. This resolution means so much to our community right now. And particularly over these last few weeks, the community here locally, both folks that have been here for decades and really established roots in Sacramento, and also a lot of our families who are more recent refugees or maybe more recently came from places like Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria have been struggling. People are having a difficult time and folks have really had a real tumultuous couple of weeks right now. With this resolution, the work being done by CARE, by Shifa, by Al-Misbah, and so many other Muslim-led organizations in town is really being highlighted, and it's incredible to see the council recognizing the work that's being done. For me personally, I'm a physician. I'm based out of UC Davis, and I work with a lot of these community partners, and I have the unique opportunity and the unique challenge of often being sort of at the intersection of health disparity, of public health, of mental health, and really having the opportunity to really key in on our works with our refugee and our immigrant minority communities here locally. And it's incredible to see the advances that we've made and the work that's being done, particularly within the Muslim community, but there's still a lot of room to go. I appreciate the council's conversation earlier about just being very mindful as we think about fundings and budgets and things like this, that we're thinking about those who are often the most in need and often the least resourced, and particularly in mental health, that is a very large issue that we continue to face. I just wanted to share briefly about my own family. I'm a product of immigrants. My family comes from Pakistan. My parents, Famida and Nazakat Khan, are they came to Sacramento about 30 years ago, and they came here like many other families who are wanting to get a new life, a new place to establish themselves, create something better for their children. And I grew up here in West Sacramento. In Sacramento, I went into some of our local Catholic schools and did all my medical training here at our public universities at UC Davis, where I continue to work. And it's really been an amazing place to be able to be a part of a community that's really embracing of diversity, a community that can recognize that yes, we face challenges. I'm a Muslim American that grew up in post 9/11 America, and we've seen the worst of discrimination and xenophobia and oppression, both at local and national levels. But at the same time, we've seen a community that stepped up, a community that's persevered, one that's shown itself to have courage and strength, and most of all, one that's been incredibly compassionate. And as someone who has a 6-month-old that I'm raising here in Sacramento, I'm really, really excited to see baby Sophia live her life here in Sacramento, and hopefully have a community that's joined by families from Afghanistan and other parts of the world that also want to come here and establish a new life and a better life for them. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to work with Bassem, who's a friend, a mentor, a big brother to me, and a lot of our other community organizations who continue to do amazing work. And I'm hopeful the council is going to continue to support us in what we do.
Austin, do you want to speak?
Yes. Dear Mayor and Council, I greet you with the greeting of Muslims. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Thank you for your commitment to Sacramento's diverse communities. Today is a historic day for the Sacramento Muslim community. The Sacramento Muslim community is over a century old. If one visits the Sacramento Historic City Cemetery, you'll find Muslim leaders born in the mid-19th century buried there. There's a Muslim section as well as an Afghan section. The founder of CARE Sacramento Valley, Rashid Ahmed, gave me a tour once and showed me the early leaders of the community in the historic Muslim Mosque Association, while the Muslim section is tucked away in the corner of the cemetery. Maulana Barakatullah, one of the founders of the Ghadar Party, the party that fought for independence of India from the British. The Ghadar Party is significant, as it even influenced Gandhi's movement in that region of the world. Barakatullah was also the prime minister of the first provincial government of India established in Afghanistan in 1950. Maulana Barakatullah died in 1927 in San Francisco and was buried near the entrance of our city's historic cemetery. Many of the leaders that founded the Sacramento Muslim community were freedom fighters from the subcontinent, and that is reflected on their tombstones. Many of them were Punjabi, who along with the Sikhs came to the valley to farm, but due to the Chinese Exclusion Act, they weren't allowed to own property. Additionally, Sacramento is home to a historic Black Muslim community. Many come from the Worthing community, a community that pioneered in the service and justice of Black folk. One of the most iconic and quintessential American Muslim cuisines comes out from this community, the bean pie. This community, often dubbed the Ansar, welcomed the waves of new Muslims from all over the world that moved to the region through their institution. In our region, we have many street names with Islamic origins: Muhammad, Muhammad X Court, Mecca, Medina streets, because one of the most prominent developers after World War II came from a Muslim background. Today, Sacramento is leading in the efforts to support the Afghan refugee crisis. Every Sacramento Afghan resident is somehow impacted by the crisis in Afghanistan. And our legal team at CARE is working 24/7 to help our Afghan community members by working with Congresswoman Matsui and Congressman Bera's office to get our community members and their loved ones evacuated from Kabul airport. CARE, through the city's fuel network, will continue providing pro bono immigration support to our community. Sacramento has a history of welcoming refugees from conflict zones. Sacramento could be one of the most diverse cities in the world today because of its embrace of refugees and immigrants. We have a sizable Bosnian, Vietnamese, Cham, Palestinian, and Somali community here that rivals that of major cities. These communities have found a home in the City of Trees, and they continue to serve our community with love and resilience. And I'm so grateful that the city is celebrating them and affirming them today. The Sacramento Muslim community inherited and continues to produce a legacy of freedom fighters, community members that care for and serve the justice of all people and the most vulnerable. This is what drives us at CARE and our community. We look forward to continuing our work in the city to uplift, empower, heal, educate, and protect those who need it most. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have a couple of our colleagues who want to speak. Councilmember Loloe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. today is a special day, and I can tell you as a Muslim, I'm very proud, and I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Valenzuela, for that introduction. And it's an absolute pleasure meeting you, Dr. Khan, and Mr. Basim. We've seen each other in a few occasions. It is a proud day to be a Muslim, but it's also a very concerning day with what's going on overseas in Afghanistan. And we have to stay united. And I'm hoping that all the Muslim communities within US, Sacramento, California, condemn the work that is happening by the Taliban in Afghanistan in the name of Islam, because that is not Islam. And that's the one thing that I want to make sure that the people around the world recognize, that Islam it advocates peacefulness, togetherness, recognizing every religion. So I am hoping with individuals such as yourself and the other brothers and sisters that we have here, that we stand united and reach out to our politicians and let them know that what's going on overseas in Afghanistan has nothing to do with the religion of Islam, and that the Taliban are not at any point even remotely representing this wonderful religion that today we're celebrating and it's being recognized in the city of Sacramento. Again, I want to thank you, Councilmember Valenzuela, to taking that step. And it's a proud day, and I want to thank Dr. Khan and Basim for representing. We still have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of brothers and sisters overseas right now that are being executed as we talk in the name of religion. But we do have to stand united and denounce them, that they are not representing us, that they're just a group that is on their own timeline. So with that, it's a proud day. I don't want to take the thunder out, but I am very concerned about the brothers and sisters in Afghanistan right now, that they don't know if what's gonna happen tomorrow, and that is very concerning. So thank you very much. That was just my 2 cents. Again, Dr. Khan, Basim, congratulations.
Thank you. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. I wanted to, again, thank Dr. Hahn here, and also thanks, Basim. I think we've almost 18 years of work together, working side by side on the issues of immigrants and refugees. And I wanted to clearly thank all the contributions of our Muslim community here, not only in Sacramento, and I know personally in my district, we would not have homes built in our own area with Habitat if it wasn't for the partnership with CARE and many of our Muslim community members who came out for the Unity Build to provide housing for folks. And when, at the beginning in 2016, when we had issues with the Trump administration, with many, immigrants from Mexico and Latin America, and even with, at the time, the Muslim ban, it was, CARE and other organizations that stepped up and said, we need to, make sure that everyone is treated equal. So today, clearly, as Basim mentioned, the Fuel Network would not have been there without the coalition partners of everyone working together. And now more than ever, I think it's important that our city continue its effort to help our Afghan refugees who have already been coming here. I think many folks don't know that over the last 4 years, we've already had that transition. And Houston and Sacramento are the two focusing points of where many Afghan refugees are seeing that they're saying that they want to be with their family and friends. And so I'm excited about working together as a city to support our community members, but more importantly, reminding us about the strength of our unity here. So great to celebrate this today. Thank you, Councilmember Valenzuela, and let's go Sacramento.
Hey, Mayor Steinberg.
I just want to say to Basim and to Dr. Khan and to CARE that every time this community has a challenge around race, around diversity, around discrimination, around hate, CARE always stands up. always consistent, ethical, and always reaching out to others. I'm especially proud of the relationship among the leaders of the Jewish American community and the Muslim American community, because it is contrary to maybe what some people would expect. But in this community, if we disagree on anything, what we agree on is so much more important, and what binds us in this community and our care and love for one another. And I just count it as one of my, just one of the happiest things about living and serving in this community is the way we relate to one another and the work that you do. And of course, maybe our most important work is ahead of us in the weeks and months ahead as we welcome the Afghan refugees to our community. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Sure, Council Member Vang, and then I have a couple things I want to say, and then we'll get going on our agenda.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say, well, thank you, Councilmember Valenzuela, for presenting this resolution recognizing Dr. Hamad Khan and the American Muslim Appreciation Awareness Month. Really proud that our city is doing this. I want to give you a shout out, Councilwoman. Thank you so much for bringing this to council. Thank you, Dr. Khan and Bassem, just for your incredible work in serving, protecting, and holding healing spaces for all of our communities, not just the Muslim community. And I think similar to what the mayor shared, especially y'all have been on the front lines when it comes to racial justice for all of our communities. When there is an urgent issue right in front of us, CARE has always stepped up. And so want to also just say thank you for your heart and your hustle and everything that you're doing for all of our communities. I think this is what makes Sacramento so beautiful and so great. And I'm so honored to celebrate you both and our Muslim community at large in Sacramento. So just thank you so much for everything that both of y'all have done for the Sacramento region.
Great, thank you. I just want to say, and then Katie, you can finish it up. Both my wife and I are members of an organization called Salam Shalom. She with a women's group of Jewish and Muslim women, and myself with a men's group the same way. It's been a wonderful experience, and I firmly always believed and continue to that until we know each other's stories, we'll never get to where we need to go. So I want to thank you for the work you do, and thank you for the work that CARE does. As the mayor said, extremely important for our community, and we will be there for you just as you have always been there for us. So, Katie, do you want to finish this up here?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I just want to thank Dr. Khan and Bassem for joining us and being patient as our meeting ran long. And I want to note that the resolution is signed by all of us. And Dr. Khan, if you notice there in the background, has it displayed. We were able to get it to him just in time for this, so that thanks to our amazing city team, so that he could have that to display for the community. So thank you all for creating the space. I just think it's so important now more than ever, not just in August, but every month for us to solidify this partnership and commitment to our Muslim community. So thank you both for being here and your beautiful words.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. Let me turn this back over to the mayor to continue one item and move us on the consent agenda.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. As I mentioned at the end of the afternoon meeting, after consultation with Councilmember Valenzuela, the City Manager, Chris Conlon, Mario Guerrero, I'd like to take a motion to continue item 19, the Police Review Commission 2020 recommendations. We just want to do some more work together here on this and bring it back.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
I'll second.
All right, is there did anyone call in on this yet, Madam Clerk?
I do have hands raised, but I don't know if that's for this agenda item. So members of the public, if you have hands raised, since we're not hearing the item, if they wanted to speak on the continuance, they could, but not on the item itself.
No, I understand. So it's just hard to know whether they're calling on this item or not.
Let me ask them. Jenna Abbott, and then phone number last 49211. Are you calling to speak on item number 19?
I am not calling to speak on item number 19.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Ms. Abbott, you're not calling on that?
That's correct. She just took her hand.
Okay, then let's can we take a vote, please, on the motion to continue?
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem Ashby is absent. Councilmember Laloe,
Aye.
Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chenier,
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra,
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Vang, Councilmember Vang.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mayor Steinberg.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. And as I said earlier, we will bring that back forthwith. We're not forgetting it. We just want to work a little bit more. Thank you. The consent calendar, are there items that members want to remove from the consent calendar or talk about separately or vote separately?
Move consent, Mayor.
Okay, it's moved.
I'll second.
There's a second. Do we have any public testimony on the consent calendar?
We have no hands raised on the consent calendar.
Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Mayor, before
Yes,
you
sir.
do, out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to recuse myself from item number 14.
Okay, that's very good. Let the record reflect when the roll is called that Councilmember Guerra has abstained on item 14. Please call the roll.
I think recused himself, not abstain.
Excuse me, I apologize. Recusal. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Mayor
you.
Pro Tem Ashby is absent. Councilmember Laloe,
Aye.
Councilmember Harris,
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chenier,
Yes.
Councilmember Guerra,
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Vang,
Yes.
and Mayor Steinberg.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. The consent calendar passes. We do have one discussion item left tonight, and that is an important one, the drought response, declaring stage 2 water alert. Mr. City Manager, who am I turning this over to?
That's going to be Bill Busaith and his team.
Okay,
Mr.
Mr. Busaith.
Das.
Director Busaith, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Rajni Das is going to give the presentation.
Ms. Doss, welcome to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Hope you can hear me now. Let's see if I'll run this. Okay, are you seeing the screen?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Roshni Das. I'm the Sustainability Program Manager with the Department of Utilities. So today we are going to discuss the drought response and staff's recommendation to increase and consider additional water conservation measures from the city side. As you know, the state and the region is in the grips of drought conditions. On July 7th, City Manager Mr. Howard Chan had declared stage 1 water watch, which directed city staff, residents, and businesses to voluntarily reduce their water use by up to 10%. Staff have taken active steps to help city and residents achieve this goal. Utilities team and citywide task force are meeting regularly to reduce and work towards achieving this goal. The city also doubled our rebate offerings, which has been extremely successful, and I'll go over some of the numbers later. Staff have kicked off a drought campaign. We have set up a website. We are doing ads on TV, radio, digital, print, and social media in various languages. On the department side, we have significantly changed our operations to help with the reduction of use of surface water from the American River, and we have increased the use of Sacramento River water and groundwater. So while we do these actions to reduce our water use, it is also important for us to understand city's baseline performance with regards to water use. This is the comparison of the regional agencies and how they performed from 2015 to 2019. City is 99% metered, and we have an award-winning water conservation program. Many of our progressive programs and initiatives have helped the city stay amongst the most efficient users in the region. by the metric of residential GPCD, which is our largest customer class. The best way to understand the city's overall demand is by looking at this graph. As you can see, city's demand ranged at 295 GPCD before the last drought in 2014-2016. And after the drought, we left in place our most significant stage 2 requirement, which was to limit watering to 2 days per week in summer and springtime. This graph shows that that the city residents and customers have retained the water conservation measures and did not bounce back to pre-drought levels. But the drought conditions continue to get worse. June was the hottest month in the United States, and July was the hottest month ever recorded in human history, according to new data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Locally, the Folsom Reservoir and the Lower American River are vulnerable to worsening drought conditions. Folsom Lake is a critical water supply to the Sacramento region, is at 24% capacity, and is among the most depleted reservoirs among California's top 10. So in response to these drought conditions, staff recommends that the City Council consider increasing our water conservation measures. We recommend this through 3 actions: declaring stage 2 water alert for the city's water shortage contingency plan, increase the call to voluntarily reduce water by up to 15%, further align and ratify the support, align ourselves with the governor's executive order and ratify city support for the regional water authority's resolution calling for 15% voluntary conservation or other equivalent steps to reduce the pressure on Folsom Reservoir and the Lower American River. We also, I talked about the rebates, and we have seen unprecedented participation in our rebate program, which we doubled the rebate starting July 1st. And the participation has been huge, and the effect of these participation will be long-term for the city of Sacramento. So we also request to authorize the city manager or city manager's designee to transfer $1.8 million to support the increased interest in water conservation rebate programs. A bit more information on the stage 2. The water alert is the second of the 6 stages defined in the water shortage contingency plan. A move to stage 2 would mean that fines will be doubled for water waste in the city. I would like to stress that even though fines are doubled, our primary focus will still remain education. We will knock on the doors first, educate our residents and customers about water waste. Only the most egregious violations of water running down the street and flooding the gutters will be fined. Furthermore, the car washing will be restricted to watering days. This is in addition to all the other ongoing water conservation measures kicked off by the stage 1 water watch. In conclusion, we believe that declaring the stage 2 is warranted during these progressing drought conditions as we head into September, which is also one of the highest water use months for the city. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you very, very much for a sobering but very, very important presentation. Do we have members of the public that signed up to speak?
I have no members of the public signed up to speak.
All right, then let me get I see Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, water issues are not sexy, they're not political. They don't get people's interest all that much, and yet water is the most essential element for us to be able to live in Sacramento. And the work that's done by the Regional Water Authority, by our utilities department, it's really critical to our life and lifestyle here in Sacramento. I can tell you, having lived in the Valley for several decades, that this drought is certainly the worst ever that I've experienced, but actually historically, this is probably the worst drought in California recorded history. So the condition of our Folsom Reservoir is critical to the water needs of our region. There are other water agencies that draw their water directly out of Folsom Reservoir. We, on the other hand, have water rights and draw from the American River and the Sacramento River, and we have groundwater as well to work with. So in the city of Sacramento right now, our water situation is not dire, but it can get dire very quickly. With the conditions that we've seen this year, we expected much greater inflows into Folsom Reservoir coming out of last winter's snowpack. They didn't materialize because of excessive heat and a very dry soil that absorbed an awful lot of water, and it caught a lot of water agencies up short. I don't think anybody expected us to be in this severe a drought. Probably as early as April, we didn't see a huge drought. Maybe even in May, we didn't see the conditions, and they came on fast and furious. What this means, and what a lot of people don't understand, is that Folsom Reservoir could reach dead pool. And what that means is when the water gets lower than the outfall from the reservoir, that's a very dire situation. It happened before in 2015. The Bureau of Reclamation was building barges and getting pumps ready to pump the dregs of the water out of Folsom Reservoir. That could happen again. That is why we need to conserve water as a region, not just the city of Sacramento. It's important that all of the water users from the Folsom Reservoir collaborate in this effort. And that's why it's a good thing that the governor asked for a voluntary 15% water reduction. Look, municipalities can't solve the drought, but what we can do is safeguard our water supply for next year in the event that we have a dry winter, which could be very, very difficult for our entire region. And that's why I think it's very wise that we go to stage 2 on our water shortage contingency plan. And I think that the work that the Department of Utilities is doing is very important to encourage water conservation and water awareness, and to get people to buy water thrifty appliances, like smart controllers and low flow toilets and low flow washing machines. All of these things add up. As Roshni has shown, we have already reduced our per capita per day water use very dramatically in Sacramento, and that's something to be proud of. But this condition is very, very severe, and we really need to be mindful of what happens this winter. So conservation now means that next year we won't be in as tight a circumstance, a place where we really don't want to be. As we go up the stages in our water storage contingency plan, if we get to level 4, it's going to be very inconvenient for all of our residents, but we have to be prepared. So, Mayor, I'm very pleased that the Department of Utilities has done this work, very grateful to them, and it's working. Our education efforts for the city, for our city dwellers to be more mindful of their water use is actually reaping great results. But there's more we can do, and doubling the incentives to comply with those programs to get rid of turf and turn into water thrifty landscapes. It's a great thing that the city is offering. And so with that, Mr. Mayor, I would like to move the resolution and the staff recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Harris, for your leadership on water issues. You're right that we don't get a lot of attention, maybe as much as they should here. Certainly at the city council or at the political level, as you say, but you're absolutely right. This is a crucial issue for us. I appreciate your leadership. Councilmember Vang.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to take this opportunity actually just to second the motion and want to thank Councilmember Harris as chair of the Water Committee just for his leadership and his work over the years on this issue. Learning a lot about water. I think it's a sexy topic. I think it's a very important topic, especially for Sacramentans. And so with that, I just want to second the motion and want to thank Councilmember Harris just for his leadership on the Water Committee and on this effort.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Vang. I see no other council members that are up here, so let us call the roll.
Thank you. Councilmember Ashby is absent. Councilmember Laloe.
Aye.
Councilmember Harris.
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chenier,
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra,
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Vang,
Yes.
and Mayor Steinberg.
Yes. Okay, that passes. Thank you. That completes the formal agenda for tonight, members. And thank you, Mr. Busaith, and your entire team for your important work here. Members, Madam Clerk, is there public testimony on items not on the agenda?
I have one person that would like to speak. Phone number, last 4 digits, 9211.
Okay.
Phone caller, it's your turn to present to the
Yes.
council.
Yes, this is Lambert Davis. I wanted to, I didn't have a chance to get in earlier, but I did want to say hello to CAIR, C-A-I-R. Our cheesecake business, worked with them over the years. They're a wonderful organization. I hope that a person who's listening will contact us, 916-370-9211. I also wanted to say, Mayor, you're on the right side of history with that presentation earlier. I was cooking cheesecakes and just listening. I didn't have a chance to come in. But I did want to say that's a wonderful thing, because your compassion for the poor and needy is admirable. What we have to do is monitor the city manager and his staff to make sure they're accountable. And thank you to City Councilwoman Mai Vang for mentioning equity and metrics, because it's crucial. You know, you can't use excuses that it was rare, it was unique with CARES. Okay, you've had Measure U, you've had CARES, now you have this. You should be able to know how to do it now. You know, so congratulations, Mayor, because you're well respected in Del Paso Heights. And thank you, Mr. Lololi, for mentioning Marysville Corridor, because that's rarely mentioned. It's always Del Paso. And shout out to Northgate. I hope they get what they deserve. I'm a native of Sacramento. I know every inch of this city. And Mr. Lololi, thank you for mentioning Marysville Corridor. And definitely let's get some money to the California Black Chamber of Commerce. That's a wonderful human being, Mr. J. King. And that chamber should get millions of dollars like the other chambers in Sacramento. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
All right, members, thank you. Are there council ideas and questions? I know I have one, but are there other members who would like to go first? I've got Vice Mayor and Councilmember Lololi. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a very, very large shout out to Assembly Member Cooper. You know, the city owns a tree nursery down in Mangum Park by the airport, and it's been blight for the last decade or so. And we've tried a number of things to create an urban agricultural center. Jim Cooper put $2 million in the state budget that lasted through the governor's signature. So we now have $2 million to do something really unique. Create a self-supporting urban ag center that has a community garden run by 3 sisters from West Sacramento. Also, Canuck Israel and Israel Farms will be participating. We'll be doing provide educational opportunities for young people in the local elementary schools. And excited that within a couple months here, we will break ground on some very hard soil. And really start working on it. And Mr. Harris, I know we need to pick up the conversation about having bees there. So with that, that's what I got. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great thing. Congratulations. Councilmember Lololi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. There's a topic that I actually made notes, so I'll try to read it to make it quick. You know, one of my most humbling experiences since taking this office was getting a clear understanding of how policies that do not intentionally discriminate may still disparately impact racial minorities and communities that they call home. None of us can deny that land use is critical to advancing equity. Racial bias and racist attitudes have been at the core of prior flawed land use. Last week, I attempted to advance an ordinance that I was hoping would be blessed by law and led to be brought forward to the council next month. However, that didn't happen. I've listened to replays of planning commissioners, law and ledge committee members, core advocates, and it's clear that there is a major disconnect, a complete and total disconnect as it relates to what is happening in districts like District 2. A study was published a year ago in American Political Science Review, The Geography of Inequalities, How Land Use Regulations Produces Segregation. It's an eye-opener. If you get a chance, go ahead and read it. But tonight I'd like to request two things from our city manager. I would like to see if I can get a report back, or perhaps a workshop detailing a background on the annexation of the city of North Sac into city of Sacramento. Also, what measures have been taken by city of Sacramento to date to address the inconsistent land use and zoning since incorporating North Sacramento into city of Sacramento? And also, how do our existing land use policies perpetuate concentrated poverty and inequalities? I'm asking for this just because I think it's critical that this history is understood, considering some of the other things that I'll be bringing forward in the future relating to land use in my district and districts like mine. I don't want this issue to continue to be misconstrued because this history is not understood in context of equity that is most important as it relates to the topic of land use. If this can be expedited, I would greatly appreciate it. My second request is, considering that District 2 land use ordinance that LNL decided not to hear and vote no on had already been deemed to be an urgent matter by Mr. City Manager, I'm asking that that item be agendized to be heard by the full council as soon as possible. And I be tied with my first request as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Member. Council Member Jennings.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to announce that District 7 and District 8 have never been closer. This is the closest that we've been in the history of the city of Sacramento. We are presenting on Friday, the 27th, Family and Friends Together Again. Council Member Bang and I are doing this with food trucks. We've got a band, we've got a movie night, we've got it all for the entire family. She's going to tell you more about the band and the movie that's going to happen. Councilmember Bang, why don't you take it from there?
Thanks. Super excited to be partnering. You're a great hype partner. Councilmember Jennings and I are hosting our first event together. Actually, it's my first event, kind of like park event as a councilwoman, but really excited to be teaming up with Councilmember Jennings to hold this event. We're going to have live music from the Hayes Band, which is the band that played actually during Mayor, your State of the City. So really excited. They're going to be performing, they are a band that combines funk, R&B, jazz, and hip hop music. So really excited about that. We'll have food trucks out there. We'll also play Moana when the sunset is setting. But really, I'm also going to be walking in the neighborhood on Thursday because I know that social media will only get so far. And so we're going to be canvassing to let community know that this event's going to be happening right in the heart of South Sacramento Valley High. Definitely, we're going to encourage folks to make sure that they're wearing masks. We're doing physical distancing, but want to make sure that folks are enjoying themselves as well. And so really excited to be partnering with Councilmember Jennings on this. Super excited for it. And so all of y'all should swing by if you got time this Friday. It should be a fun event, very family fun oriented. We'll be out there dancing as well. So super excited about that. So come join us at Valley High, 5 o'clock.
That's right. From 5 to 8 p.m., we'll have the food trucks. At 5 p.m., the band will kick off. And then, as she said, at sunset, we'll have the movie. So you can't have a greater day. All at Valley High Park, August the 27th, this Friday. Come on out, bring the family out. Let's have a great time. We want to make sure everybody knows about it.
How to get by, that sounds.
And this will be our first dance. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Sounds wonderful. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Wanted to do a shout out and also thank my colleague, Councilmember Jay Chenier, and the Oak Park Neighborhood Association and the Tahoe Park Neighborhood Association, Walk Sacramento, Green Tech, for this Saturday, the Tahoe Oak Park Community Cleanup, where the community is getting together and they're going to clean the neighborhoods between the two communities. This is a great way for us bridging the community that are adjacent to Stockton Boulevard here. We're meeting first at 8:30 at Oak Park Community Center for coffee. And then all the safety and logistics and instructions, passing out tools, will be right at 9 o'clock. And then we're just going to depart right there via 8th Avenue and start our walk for the day. So we're hoping people will come out and join us and support the Tahoe Oak Park Community Cleanup event this Saturday. Again, over at meeting, we're going to start at the Oak Park Community Center. And with that, thanks everybody and have a great night.
What time, Councilman Guerra?
We're 8:30. 8:30. We're leaving at 9, so get there before 8:30. Logistics and everything, the training starts sharp at 9.
Very good. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to announce that Screen on the Green is back. We're going to have 2 showings of movies in the park. The first one is Saturday, September 11th, here in my own neighborhood at Glen Hall Park at Carlson and Sandberg Drives. We're going to be showing the movie Soul, which is a pretty cool little film. The movie begins at sundown. That's going to be approximately 8 o'clock. And then on Saturday, September 18th, we'll be showing the same movie at Gardenland Park at 310 Bowman Avenue. And of course, we're hoping that everybody comes fully vaccinated, but if not, we certainly want to wear masks and socially distance. There's plenty of room in the park, and so I think that everybody's going to have a great time at this one. I've already received a lot of feedback from people who are very excited to have these public events. Thank you, Mayor.
Great to hear so much of this activity starting up again. Vice Mayor Chenier.
Yeah, 2 quick ones. We also have a movie in the park Friday night in Chorley Park. And then Sunday evening is music in the park in Curtis Park. On air is the band.
Super. Thank you. Finally tonight, members, we had a long and we had a very important conversation about racial equity this afternoon. And I would like to appoint an ad hoc, a racial equity ad hoc, for several purposes. Number one, I think we want to plan a thoughtful workshop for the full city council centered on racial equity. That's an important piece of this. Secondly, we want to work very closely with the city staff, with Race Forward and the community over the coming months and years to develop a citywide racial equity action work plan to guide the city in a most effective way to develop, consistently use a racial equity lens for the city's various policy, budget, and service delivery processes. And at the same time, of course, as Councilmember Vang and others raised today, we've got this $112 million. And as I said earlier, I think we want to think about how we might triage here a little bit in the short run, because we want to do this work right with the community. And I think if we can meet over the next week or two, we can talk about ARP, but more importantly, we can talk about how we can guide and support this comprehensive work that is beginning in our city. So I want to ask Councilmember Vang, if you would co-chair this with me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I'd like to ask Vice Mayor Chenier, Councilmember Guerra, and I'll appoint myself, but ask my Chief of Staff, Kelly Fong Rivas, to serve when I'm unavailable in my stead. She is very committed and passionate on these issues, as I know all the staffs are. But Vice Mayor Chenier's chief of staff is very passionate about these issues as well. So everybody's welcome to participate, obviously, in various ways. The ad hocs are a formal Brown Act committee, but we're going to do our best to really try to organize some of this work a little bit so that we can help focus the full city council. Okay? Members, if there's nothing else to come before the city council tonight, thank you for a great day of work. Thanks to the staff and the public. We are adjourned.